You're angry. You're angry at the elderly parents you just had to drive to the cardiologist. And when you're caring for aging parents, you probably understand why that anger feels just a bit uncomfortable. Society tells us it's a privilege to take care of our older parents. GenX psychology has something to say to that. Because when you've spent your entire GenX childhood raising yourself, something twisted happens. When the parents who weren't there for you suddenly need you for everything. I'm Nicole, a GenX nurse. And you probably haven't spoken about this anger too much. And I bet I can guess why. Because what kind of person gets mad at their aging mother? I'll tell you what kind. The Latchkey kid kind. Now, here's the irony. This anger really starts to kick in when the Latchkey generation turns into the sandwich generation and starts getting pulled in all directions. Kids, parents, partners, career. And it makes that anger boil just a little hotter. But here's something else that makes it burn hotter. We're postponing our retirement. We're taking the contributions that we would have been making to our 401ks and sending them to an institution to pay for the monthly bill for our baby boomers' assisted living. That makes our anger really boil. By the end of this video, you're going to know why this anger makes sense and why you're not a bad person for feeling it. Now, not if you've lived through this scenario. Your phone buzzes. It's your mom. Third time today, and it's not even noon. She needs a ride, or she needs a prescription picked up, or she has another question about her Medicare statement. And you answer the phone, because you always answer. But somewhere in the middle of the conversation, in one of those, sure mom, I'll pick up your prescription moments, there it is. It hits you. It's a flash. And a little voice says, are you kidding me right now? That's anger. And it's probably been sitting in your chest and your throat for longer than you would care to admit. Want to know why this anger is still sticking into adulthood? Stick with me and I'll tell you. But first, it makes complete sense that you still have this anger. Anger loves to keep receipts. Not necessarily in a petty way, not like the Steph Curry self-appointed petty king way, but in a human way. Because every time your mouth says, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, things are fine, your nervous system sends a signal to your brain and it says, danger, does not compute, does not compute. Every refill, every prescription, every plan you have canceled, every hour you spend on their finances, cleaning their house, hiring help, listening to their complaints, fulfilling their demands, requests. During that time, some part of you is pulling out your childhood receipts and making a comparison to what you got back then to what you're giving right now. Attention? Nope. Engagement? Not really. Emotional presence? Please. And when your body notices this, your anger boils just a little hotter. And if that's not enough, here's where it gets even more confusing. Because you love your parents. You don't want to see them abandoned. But at the same time, that unfairness does not go unnoticed. There's a pain that's unique to GenX around this issue. It's messy. We never really had a name for it. And along with the anger, there's a question hanging around that everybody has their fingers crossed, hoping we don't ask. Why am I doing so much for someone who never did this much for me? That stings. In every breath you take. Hang in there with me, because I'm going to tell you how to numb this sting just a little bit. And here's why the anger sticks. There's actually 3 reasons. The role reversal. Now you're the parent. It's the freakiest of Fridays. Jodie Foster version. The role reversal messes with you because you start pulling on old childhood wiring and traumas. You start wandering into mental rooms that you haven't looked into for years. And this role reversal loves nothing than ripping off scabs of old wounds. And there's not enough mercurochrome in the world to heal those. The second reason is the lack of acknowledgement from our parents. I don't know about you, but I can't imagine too many parents saying this to one of us. Nicole, I know I wasn't there during your childhood, and I feel so bad for that. But I just want to let you know that I am so grateful for what you're doing for me right now. I can't thank you enough. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. This will probably happen before that does. Nope. They'll continue to complain about the food. They'll complain you don't visit. And they'll make you feel like nothing you ever do is good enough. Just like they did when you were 9, 10, and 11 years old. The third reason this anger sticks, because GenX, we don't ask for help very well. We handle it alone. Because that's what a Latchkey kid does. We don't call for backup. We run straight into the burning building. There it is again. That meddling GenX resilience. So what do you do with this anger? You don't bury it. You don't act on it. You do something more GenX-y with it. More of a seek and destroy kind of vibe. More of a I sunk your battleship kind of thing. Get a piece of paper. Not a piece of paper from your journal or stationery or nice paper you have somewhere. A scrap piece of paper. Back of an old envelope. Back of an old CVS receipt. And write down one sentence that tells what you're angry about. One sentence. Ugly. Unfiltered. Honest. No editing. I'm angry because I'm killing myself for someone who never paid this much attention to me. I'm angry that I'm the parent now and I never got to be the kid. Write it out. Then destroy it. Rip it. Crumple it so hard that your knuckles turn white. If you have some underlying pyromaniac tendencies, burn it in the sink. But be careful. Use caution. Always make sure you do it safely. Think of Smokey the Bear. Shred it with your bare hands. Tear it apart like you're breaking a mixtape of someone who broke your heart. Now notice, we're not getting in the lotus position. We're not lighting a candle. We're not sharing with a stranger. All we're doing is purging it. We're letting the poison out of our system. Because anger, it doesn't listen to reason. Anger doesn't want a conversation. It just wants a door. It wants a way out. Give it one. Just you, the scrap paper, and 10 seconds of beautifully controlled destruction. That is the way. The Latchkey way. So does this mean you're never going to have another flash of anger? Nope. Sorry. It'll probably happen again. But now you know what to do. Write, destroy, move on. Doing this reminds you that you deserved better then and you deserve better now. Here's a Reddit comment I've read over the years. I'm expected to take care of them when nobody took care of me. Can anyone relate? There's a whole lot of us that can. And they're not terrible people for saying these kinds of things. And you're not terrible either. So here's the only ask I've got. If you've ever sensed this anger, drop this in the comments. One word. Sunk. And if you want more of this kind of GenX psychology that doesn't require you to get in the friendship circle or light a candle, hit like. If you enjoy the 80s nostalgia, subscribe. I'm Nicole. You're in the right place.